Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you clicking on that video as always. And we are back with another weekly wears video where I go over every fragrance that I wore all 7 days last week. So if that's content that you think you want to see more of, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I drop this video every single Monday. You might find something that you like in it and I appreciate it. So let me know in the comment section below if this is your first time here and if you get something from this video. But without further ado, let's jump right into the list, starting with Sunday. So on Sunday, I was just gonna be home, getting some work done and watching the Patriots game. They played a late afternoon game and terrible ending, awful ending. One of the most embarrassing performances from the New England Patriots that I have really in recent memory. And if you're under the age of 40 and you are a fan of the Patriots, most of your life has been watching them win and not making plays like they made on Sunday. I could go on for hours about this. Damn, I don't know how we lost that game. But nonetheless, I went with this fragrance. At least this put me in a better mood. Scent I'm talking about is Mugler's Pure Havana. Everyone complains about the atomizer on this. It's not, oh man. That's it's so good. It's not that terrible. It is kind of strange because it's like this rubber piece on top and you got to kind of find the atomizer under there, and sweet honey tobacco with cacao, and that cacao adds this sort of balsamic edge to this. It's actually similar to something like a chocolate covered cherry, and although I think a lot of people get a cherry accord when they smell this, I think what that really truly is that cacao. Nonetheless, whatever it is, it makes this scent very sort of multi-dimensional. And what I like about this is that although the notes might on paper sort of lead you to believe that this wears heavy, it's not. It's airy, it's light. There's something about this fragrance that just smashes those conceptions of a tobacco honey based fragrance being too heavy or resinous, too sweet. It just does everything perfectly. I think the comparisons to something like a Xerjoff Naxos are warranted. However, without question, I think Naxos is a more refined fragrance, but that doesn't make this a worse fragrance. That's what I actually like about this one. Naxos is more lavender forward to my nose, and it's more of a cleaner scent overall, which just makes this more of a fun and edgy scent to me. And that, again, that's why I like this so much. Lasts a good amount of time. I would say just around 6-7 hours. So about average longevity. But you spray this on your clothes, you're probably going to smell it the next day. Mugler's Pure Havana. So on Monday, I went with a fragrance that I actually picked up during one of my rack store hauls, and really happy to have this in the collection. I got it at a fantastic deal, and I've heard a lot about this house and this particular line, and this is the first I've tried from this line. Scent I'm talking about is Chopard's Rose Malachi. This opens with sort of a sharp, metallic type of saffron note. So, and it's very woody. The opening can turn some people off because it is a little bit almost harsh in the opening. But if you can sort of wait it out 10-15 minutes or so into this sort of settling down, it just smells incredible. With that being said, the scent changes a lot from beginning to end, and although I get that sort of copper metallic type of feel from this, it's still likable. I actually enjoy the opening, and there's almost a slight nuttiness to it as well. So I'm not really sure where that's coming from, but just again, the dry down is where this shines. Once this begins to dry down, pretty much my ideal rose begins to come forward. It's not jammy, it's not powdery, it's not overly feminine. It is just perfect. It's airy, extremely clean, a bit musky, and it's rose. So it's still very likable, very floral, but just this leans for me more masculine than, this is a unisex fragrance, and I think women could definitely wear this. Just for me, it's a little bit more masculine. And that rose is perfectly balanced with the ambers and the vanilla accords in here. And that's in the dry down, the amber, the vanilla, the rose, a little bit of woods. Awesome scent and decent longevity. If you spray a bit heavy and on your clothes, this is gonna last pretty much all day. Chopard's Rose Malachi. On Tuesday, I went with a fragrance that is somewhat synonymous with the channel because I think I'm the only person that really talks about this. I know one or two other people have mentioned it on their channels prior, but For $14.99, it doesn't really get much better than this scent. Scent I'm talking about is Lamborghini Millennials. This one is old school with a modern twist to it. I think a guy in his 30s with his crap together is going to be more attracted to a fragrance like this. It's not a blue fragrance by any means. The twist in here, and where it has sort of this old school feel to it with a rhubarb note, I give this one a nod for being closer to a niche fragrance than a designer fragrance, simply based on the fact that this is a unique sort of original smell to me. I don't own anything like this one. And although it has some aspects, again, of an old school fougere, for example, it adds other elements in here, some woods, some smokiness from the incense, that rhubarb note, as I mentioned, it just all plays perfectly off of one another, and it makes it super unique. I also get a heavy dose of clove and pink pepper in here, and a little bit of vetiver in that dry down, adding to that woodiness. I wish this lasted longer. That is the only criticism of this fragrance. It only lasts about 5 hours on my skin, but you know what? For $14.99 and an original smelling fragrance, you can't go wrong. I don't mind overspraying it. Lamborghini Millennials. On Wednesday, I went with a super hyped fragrance that every YouTuber has talked about. Pretty much every YouTuber has covered this fragrance. And I want to talk about this one, because I paid full retail for it, and I think it's worth full retail. And again, it's super hype. So I want to kind of try to separate on my channel hype from something that is just hype to something that is worth the hype. So in my opinion, this one is absolutely worth the hype and would be in my top 5 if I had to sort of cut down my collection and just have 5 fragrances. This would absolutely be in it. Scent I'm talking about is Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. This is a deeper, more almost syrupy, resinous version of Allure Homme Sport. Oh man, in the air, incredible. Think Allure Homme Sport with just this amped up tonka bean, more resinous, a little bit deeper, and just this fruity mandarin orange that's used up top, this sweetness, this kick of mint, the vanilla, the tonka. It's incredible. This thing is fresh, sweet, versatile, signature scent worthy. I wish it lasted longer. Again, it's one of those things that I wish it lasted a little bit longer. But what I will say is that the more I wear this, the longer I own this, the more this macerates, it does seem to last a little bit longer. So I am getting better performance from this than I had originally gotten when I first bought it. And, you know, I do own a lot of fragrances. If I could, I would probably reach for this one every day. It's just one of those addictive smells that just works and you know you're going to smell great. So in terms of a dumb reach, this is perfect. Yeah, this is one that I will always have in my collection. It's aromatic, again, from that mint and the sage in here, but just feels like it can work in pretty much every season. So like the day I wore this, for example, it was cold. We went and saw my daughter's Christmas show at her preschool, and I just wanted something that was gonna smell great. And this definitely did that. Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme from Chanel. So on Thursday, I went with a fragrance that I just recently picked up in a rack store haul. And I've been sort of playing around with this line a little bit more, trying different things from this line. I really enjoy this line. I own a couple already, and I love them. But the scent I chose on Thursday was Banana Republic's Linen Vetiver. So when I first tried this in that first impressions video, I was very impressed, and I still feel that way. This thing is just really easy going, literally easy going fragrance. And I really like these Banana Republic bottles, the heavy duty cap. In the air, you're gonna get lemon, you're gonna get citrus, bergamot, I believe in here. It's a lemon lime combination that just works. You're gonna get this sort of underlying fuzziness, almost synthetic feeling fragrance. In the deep dry down, the day that I wore this, it did remind me a bit of H24 from Hermes, and obviously not as potent as that scent. And I really enjoy that scent. That scent is polarizing, but It's not as potent as that scent, but I definitely picked up on some of the little bit of similarities between the two. What this does, it does really well. And that's one of the things it does really well, is sort of lends itself to this fresh linen, clean laundry type feel. It's soapy, it's airy. It has this synthetic fuzziness, warmth to it. And it reminds me so much of 78 Vintage Green, which is my favorite from the house, from Banana Republic's Icon line, without the fig. So without that sweetness of the fig, a little less synthetic. Is 78 Vintage Green is a bit less synthetic, but I think that's what they were going for with this, is that fuzzy dryer sheet type syntheticness, and it works. It smells fantastic. If you don't want to wear a heavy fragrance, or you just want to smell great, smell like fresh laundry, Linen Vetiver is the way to go. Banana Republic's Linen Vetiver. So on Friday, I went with a scent that I understand why this gets a lot of hype. It's one of the most renowned, hyped cheapies available today in the community. People talk about this all the time. And I feel like the only people that really hate this fragrance are just fragrance snobs. Sorry if you are a fragrance snob and you watch this channel. I apologize. Maybe you just want to hate on this fragrance. Go for it. I'm all for it. Maybe you love cheapies and you just hate this one. I personally love this one, and I was not disappointed when I first got my nose on this. Scent I'm talking about is CK1 Shock. I don't know how someone could dislike this scent. It has a sweet, fresh, aromatic opening. The lavender blended with that sweet clementine type citrus is just so addictive. It's beautiful, and this is super cheap. This is like, I think you can get like a 200 ml bottle for 20 bucks. I think I paid $13 for this one for the 100 ml. Just so good for the price. So in general, this is a good fragrance, but for the price, it's an absolute steal in my opinion. As this dries and gets a bit warmer, more of that tobacco starts to come out. This is not a challenging tobacco. It's sweet, it's damp. It is blended with the patchouli in here. It just works. It adds a sort of chocolatey feel to it, and this addictive sweetness that just lasts throughout the fragrance. I wish it lasted longer. I wish there was like a niche. Is there a niche version of CK1 Shock, something a little more strong? I mean, this, again, this is sweet, aromatic. It does all the things right. I find myself wanting more of it, and I want it to last longer. But wore this one on Friday, CK1 Shock. Finally, on Saturday, it was Christmas Eve, and I just wanted to wear something. I was going to a Christmas Eve party, so I wanted to make sure that I smelled great. I wasn't going to offend anyone. There was going to be a lot of people there in somewhat close quarters, so I wanted to wear something just sort of classic and impossible to dislike. The scent I ended up going with is Yves Saint Laurent La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. Guys, this stuff is... I love this stuff. I know the Blue Electrique is harder to find nowadays, but some people are getting these, they're popping up in places, so you can still get this. Man, that sweet cardamom with this lavender and this added ginger note in here. And the ginger is so subtle. This is very close to the original La Nuit de l'Homme. So every time I talk about this fragrance, I want to make sure to mention that this is by no means, I know some people say this is like the original La Nuit de l'Homme. I can't speak to that. I haven't smelled really old versions of La Nuit de l'Homme recently, but what I will say is that the fragrances are very similar. The scent profile, very similar. If anything, this is a bit more soapy from that ginger, and the lavender is just maybe I think that ginger helps sort of identify that lavender a little more, where in the OG that cardamom is really the standout, and the cardamom is still a standout here. It's just that you pick up those other notes, and they do a beautiful thing with this fragrance. I think it makes it a bit more versatile than that other one, than the original, but for that reason, I had to go with this on Christmas Eve. It has the perfect blend of a little bit of sweetness from that cardamom, spice, warmth, florals, super sexy scent, and this is gonna work in a lot of situations, and you're probably gonna get some compliments from this one. At this point, It might smell a little dated to some people. The younger crowd, this may smell a little dated, but it just sort of encapsulates sort of where I'm at in my life when I want to go out and just smell fantastic. And an evening out in the cold, I find myself, this is always considered. If I choose something else, I probably considered this, but I love this one. La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. That's all I have today, guys. As always, let me know in the comment section below what your weekly rotation was. I love to see what you guys are wearing. It gives me ideas of what my next pickup might be. So drop it in the comment section below. If you like what you saw today, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video, hit that bell notification so you are updated whenever I upload new content. But until then, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next video.